Essentially thing is that there is over $600 billion of Bitcoin value. That is clear. And we, of course, think that there's going to be a lot more Bitcoin value with the BlackRock ETF and some of these developments. I mean, you can see El Salvador adopted Bitcoin, and I think other countries, and citizens of other countries are going to follow. So there's a lot of Bitcoin. There's going to be even more Bitcoin. This is great. But the problem is, as soon as you want to use that Bitcoin in any kind of finance, you want to take a loan on it, you want to invest it to earn a return. As soon as you want to do anything with the Bitcoin, you have to use custodians, basically. You have to use some form of centralization. And so, as we know, because you are all in crypto, of course, custodial failures happen all the time. You have FTX, of course, all of these other ones, Celsius, Voyager, etc. And they have lost over $140 billion. And then you also have bridge hacks. So if you're looking to bridge Bitcoin to another chain to use in DeFi, you use a bridge. But these bridges get hacked left and right. You have the wormhole hack, the Ronin bridge hack. I mean, there are so many, and this is terrible. I mean, this is basically this has destroyed a significant portion of crypto value that has been created. And right now in Bitcoin, there is no way around it. Either you are using a centralized custodian, so you're taking the world's most decentralized asset and you are sending it to a custodian, or you're using a bridge that can be hacked, and this is not going to scale. And so we are implementing DLCs, discrete log contracts. And so what are DLCs, first of all? Well, DLCs were invented by the creator of the Lightning Network, Taj Dryja. He was an MIT researcher, and in 2018 he published this white paper on DLCs, which talks about enabling smart contract functionality for Bitcoin. The original paper was basically, how would you get two people in a Bitcoin transaction to have an off-chain entity, or an off-chain entity basically move the Bitcoin. And so he called this a Bitcoin oracle. And this was like a theory at the time. Well, turns out that we have a really great Bitcoin oracle, Ethereum, because Ethereum has price oracles, it has blockchain, it has all of the components that you would need to be able to control Bitcoin. So you can, with a DLC, you can actually have Ethereum control Bitcoin movement, which is huge, which means that you can have Bitcoin in Ethereum through this DLC mechanism, and you don't need to use a bridge, you don't need to use a custodian, and you are not centralizing what you do, which is huge. Basically, you are entrusting the Bitcoin chain, the Ethereum chain, and then the DLC structure, which I will talk through the mechanism for that. But this is tremendous. And so how does this work? If this is so, this is so amazing, how does it work? Well, DLCs are basically a 2 of 2 multi-sig on Bitcoin chain. So you have Alice and Bob. In the original white paper, for Taj's white paper, Alice and Bob were both people. It was, you and I get into a 2 of 2 multi-sig, we both put some Bitcoin in, and the oracle decides what happens. In our implementation, Alice is a human depositor, somebody with Bitcoin, and Bob is an application, a DeFi protocol. And so, the way it works is Alice deposits Bitcoin into this 2 of 2 multi-sig, and then an Ethereum smart contract determines how the Bitcoin is moved, whether it goes back to Alice or over to Bob. And so the Ethereum smart contract can communicate, like how does the Ethereum contract communicate with Bitcoin? Well, it uses this off-chain node called an attestation node. And so this is the element that DLC link or DLCs add, is you have this attester that is basically translating signals from Ethereum to Bitcoin. Well, so how does that even work? And I will walk through it because I think it's interesting for all of you to understand. So you have 3 Bitcoin transactions. In the first transaction, a DLC is set up between the user and the application. So this 2 of 2 multisig is created. And they choose, Alice and Bob choose one or more attesters, these off-chain, translation entities to govern this transaction. We at DLC Link, we provide a network of attesters. So you're not just choosing one, but you are choosing a number of them that, of course, have a threshold set up between them, but we'll get to that. So in the second step, Alice deposits Bitcoin and pre-signs the conditional payment paths where the Bitcoin can go. So the great thing about this is that when Alice pre-signs it and Bob also pre-signs it, those paths are the only paths where Bitcoin can go. So the Bitcoin you deposit can only go back to you, or it can go to the protocol. And those are the only places it can go. And this is huge because the way bridges work, and the reason bridges fail, is bridges are moving tokens to a third-party address. You use a bridge, you give it an address, move the token here, and these addresses can change. And so a hacker can take advantage of it, change the address to their wallet, and pull the tokens out and take it in their wallet. With a DLC, this is physically impossible. You pre-sign where the Bitcoin can go, and the Bitcoin can only go to Alice or Bob. If anybody hacks the system, they hack all the attesters, they cannot steal the Bitcoin. You are not locking the Bitcoin into the attester, you are locking it with yourself. And this is the core feature of DLCs that make it a theft-proof Bitcoin bridge. So Alice deposits the Bitcoin, pre-signs. At that point, the DLC is funded. And at that point, in our protocol, which I will talk about, we can then issue a deposit token, a DLC BTC token that you can use on Ethereum and DeFi. Anyway, the last step is settlement. So the Ethereum smart contract, let's say you are unlocking or unminting, the Ethereum smart contract sends a signal to the attester translates it to Bitcoin settlement instructions, that moves the Bitcoin, and you get the Bitcoin back. So this is basically how any DLC structure works, and any developer who wants to use Bitcoin in their application can implement this if they choose to. So what we are doing with this is we are using this DLC structure to create a new token called the DLC BTC token. This is a fully non-custodial wrapped Bitcoin token that can be used in DeFi or Curve and Aave and protocols like that. The difference is, of course, right now everybody is using WBTC, or I would say $5 billion of values in WBTC, but it is custodial because you're sending your Bitcoin to Bitco. With DLC BTC, this